Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is your AstroShaman, Pernell. We are here generating an economy of harmony, leveraging human design and genetic astrology. This is the Mercury in Taurus transit. It will retrograde at 15 degrees of Taurus, so second decan. And then we'll go back to 5 degrees of Taurus. So within 5 degrees, we're activating gene key 27. And gene key 27 in human design, gene keys, first off is in the first decan, and it speaks about the step after mutation. So right now in the world, people are feeling a tremendous pressure around money. We're thinking, how will I make money? How will I be selfless if I can't support myself? Food prices are rising. So we're going through this mutation period of, there's a lot of pressure creating confusion. And at a very subtle level, our bodies are going through a genetic mutation. And like I said, keyword subtle level. So these shifts are happening at a minute and molecular level that can't be seen to the human eye. It can only be felt through our intuition, which is delivered through the body, Taurus. Now Venus has already gone through this. Venus is ahead in Taurus. Venus in Taurus is ahead. Mercury in Taurus is actually how us as humans and our consciousness can start to make sense of what has already begun, still ongoing. And I'm going to try to do my best to help you understand now what it means to have the shadow of gate 27 being selfishness. The gift, when we act and move from the heart, being altruism, or what can be considered pod mind. The example given is dolphins, where one dolphin individually acts, Taurus, the individual, but then the message is communicated, Mercury. The message is communicated, Mercury, communication, to the entire pod of dolphins swimming together, where they essentially move from the heart space. They're willing at this altruistic level to, the elder may be willing to kill themselves off in order to save the youth, because they understand the youth will carry on the genetic lineage. So this is the altruism, the gift frequency. And then you have the Siddhi frequency, or what would be considered supernatural abilities, supernatural powers, which will actually be selflessness. So we'll get to that. This is actually the element of fire. This matters. I'll share this definition out of the Animal Oracle deck, because the altruism or the selflessness is ultimately the highest frequency of our minds being here, is when we can communicate at the same level of consciousness of all animals, and animals have the same level of consciousness of humans. And if you look in, if you've ever learned around the Aboriginals in Australia, they spoke about how humans and animals have always had one mind. You'll see this in Native American or the Indians of this United States side. They also speak to animals, okay? So what is going on, and I have some tarots that if you stick to the end, I will explain this, but Mercury in Taurus, we're going to be here for until May 31st. The shadow ends of Mercury in Taurus May 31st. It starts the shadow April 7th. So probably about the time I'm putting this video out, because I'm actually recording this in the middle of a void. Right now you're seeing a lot of people with Mercury in Taurus in their reactive or the repressed form, and What this energy of Taurus looks like in its repression in gate 27 is self-sacrificing. And I've been here, in all truth, I've been here, self-sacrificing, almost overly giving myself or yourself with no boundaries, and ultimately creating a sense of resentment, even in the person receiving what you're giving, because you're not giving from the heart. So if you're not giving from the heart, but you're overly giving, and the person who seems like to be on the receiving end seems resentful, it's because they can feel that it's not genuine. And nobody wants something that's not from the heart or that's not genuine. So this is the repressed side, okay? And this grows a lot of guilt in our mind, because Mercury is the mind, and gate 27 we're going through Mercury. So we're gonna feel guilty in our minds. And I've seen this happen for myself today. So like, this is what happened to me as an individual, which affecting now the pod mind, you all listening, considering you're part of my tribe or my pod, or the members in my group are part of my tribe, my pod. As an individual, and saying, here's this instance, I was getting ready to a collaboration, and I had to cancel it because I realized I was collabing with this person for superficial reasons. That's just the simple truth. I look and I'm seeing, I'm like, oh wow, 1 million views, yada, yada, yada. I was out of alignment. And essentially I would have created resentment and guilt within myself and others. So this is the repressed side. On one instance, that actually was more of the reactive side, quite frankly. That was the reactive side, and it's actually what I did. I reacted. I got up quick and I was like, let's do this thing together. But the reactive side is being self-centered, where now there's nothing that I'm giving in that as an exchange. That's just me looking to take and support myself. This is part of the shadow, the selflessness, or selfishness, excuse me. And so, again, lessons to be learned and to apply and to share. Because this ultimately, this gate 27 is talking about the nourishment that we receive. And, you know, when we externalize the nourishment that we require, it looks like food. And we get this through food, which is why Taurus, second house, is food. What foods do you value? And how has those foods changed? We're going through, with Mercury in Taurus, understanding, we're going to be here in retrograde, so we're going to have to really slow our thoughts, slow our minds, and digest in a way where when we learn this next lesson coming, we learn it permanently. We learn it in a practical manner, something sustainable. It's actually probably a good time to show this. Because this morning when I woke up, I was out of balance. When you're out of balance, you have food allergies, food, Taurus. Insomnia, I woke up at 4:03 a.m. and a racing mind. I woke up at 4:03 a.m. with a racing mind. This is just out of balance for me. And this is right back to the collaboration I was talking about. Simply out of balance. Now, what this card stands for is heightened awareness, ability, and vulnerability. And I had to vulnerably say to this guest, look, here's why I canceled. Because I recognized that this happened for a superficial reason. I saw this 1 million views and I was like, yes, this is the self-centered approach to my own personal survival. And this is the selfishness of gate 27, our Mercury, our minds being there. This is the selfishness that you hear of Taurians, okay, especially within, 2 degrees Taurus to like 9? Something like that, 2 to 8, 2 to 7 degrees, something like that. So being vulnerable was kind of put me back in the right frequency, right? The gazelle represents supreme grace. With every move, this awe-inspiring beauty emits sophistication and elegance. Gazelle personalities are often hyper-aware of their surroundings, bordering on hyper-vigilant. And this can inhibit them from enjoying the beauty they spent so much effort cultivating. No more worrying about those predators out there in the wild. When this card appears, it's time to get back to the present moment. sit down, find your breath, acknowledge the bounty that surrounds you, and let it nourish your gentle spirit. And what's so important about this is like, I got this card after I wake up 4 in the morning. I finished my meditation by like 6:15 in the morning. I didn't want to wake up at 4 a.m., trust me. I finished my meditation at 6:15, and this is the first card I pulled. It's the only card. So when you're in balance, you're feeling graceful, perceptive, and artistic. Graceful, perceptive, and artistic. To bring into balance, yin yoga, a cozy home, and good food. And I did these things intuitively. You know, I felt like today's a home day. These things happen intuitively. I gotta add the yoga in. I eat good food. I'm cozy at home. Literally, I'm in my pajamas. Like, if it wasn't for this video, I might be taking this off. I'm getting hot. Okay. So what Mercury in Taurus is helping us do now is to wrap our minds around what do we need to learn in order to start recognizing what it means to give from the heart. When we give unaware, it becomes charity. And when we become aware of what we're giving and when we give it and how we give it, it becomes philanthropy. Charity, philanthropy. Charity, philanthropy. Where are you giving from? Are you consciously giving or are you unconsciously giving? From April 7th to May 21st, a lot of this, we'll still have Aries in the sky, Jupiter in Aries, the sun is in Aries, right? Chiron in Aries. So we need to understand that Mars is in Cancer and it is watering down the fire and the passion of Aries. And so many are wanting to push. So many are wanting to exert. And right now our bodies need rest in order to align with these sensitive transformations and mutations that are happening, again, at a genetic level. There's survival that is, in a sense, hindering us, the survival mentality that we have to go out and get it rather than we can sit, lay, rest, and it will naturally attract to us harmonically, is dying out. When I did this poll today, and I have an entire poll I'm getting ready to share with you, like literally. We're reaching extinction, like to the point where Homo sapiens, and this won't happen in our particular lifetime, which is hard to fathom, but it's going to take a couple hundred years. We are leaving physical forms, and we are becoming extinct as the Homo sapien race, humans. Humans are becoming extinct. And we're getting to the point where, Archangel Michael, we're getting to the point where we no longer need food, but we have to wrap our minds around that by going through what? A food crisis. Genetic modification of food, not enough food, egg prices going skyrocket through the roof. Uranus in Taurus is shaking up what we require for nourishment. And what we think we require for nourishment on an external level is food. But food is going through a crisis so that we can understand that we require love. We require fulfillment through love, the philanthropy of love, selfless love. And when we get to these highest frequencies, again, like I said, when the animals and the humans were at the same consciousness and they pod mind together, even if being an individual, they pod mind and they share altruistically what they have from the heart, rather than from a place of greed. The selfishness is required. We have to look at evolution. Like I'm saying, this is genetic astrology, right? We need to start looking at evolution as a grand scheme. So many people in the world are still malnourished, but on a grand scale, when we were monkeys until where we are now, how many more people are eating? How many more people are able? Not that so many people are not malnourished and don't have enough food. And part of why they don't have enough food is because we as individuals are still truly selfish, where if we shared all the food in the world, everyone would eat. And this eventually will happen. And when it does, it will no longer be a scarcity. And when it is no longer a scarcity, this is around the same time that our evolution, we will evolve enough to realize we do not need food. And you can scientifically prove and understand this now when you look at the breatharians, people who just breathe for a living and they do not eat food. There are people on this earth that do not eat food and they are way healthier than I am. And I'm pretty healthy. But this is the individual. This isn't where the collective is at. It'll take hundreds of years for the collective to get there, but it's some of these, one-off instances that is already revealing, Mercury is revealing and showing us through evidence that it is possible. You can Google what I just said. It is possible. It is tangible, and that's what Taurus needs. So Mercury and Taurus, understand that, it's starting its retrograde at 5 degrees, and this is starting to help us understand, how can we become better philanthropists? How can we become more charitable? How can we share love from the heart? How can we share energy with another person and realize that as we do this, we can cure any and all diseases through energy alone? Look at Reiki if you don't believe me. Look at shamans and why people go to see shamans and they leave behind their Western doctors and who's giving them pills and blah, blah, blah. Look at these examples if you don't believe me. This is what Mercury and Taurus is needing. It needs this tangible source of intel, and to learn something where it is grounded and sustainable forever. Everything I'm saying right now. So ultimately, this is what Mercury and Taurus is bringing us through. We're going to go through 2 more gates, rising the ladder, but then we're going to go back. And that's why I'm putting the focus on gate 27, because we're starting at 27. We're here right now. We're going to go through 2 more gates. And this is the ring of life and death. And it's, getting us to release the expectation that we're ever going to stop suffering. Like right now, so many people are suffering. And that brings me to this here. My pull is that right now we've aligned with an illusionary form of success. Right now, this is the 7 of Cups. What we have believed to be fulfillment was just not fulfillment. We built roots on infertile ground, and that's what's happening. That's what's happening. We broke roots on infertile ground, and anything that was infertile, whenever you planted the seeds, whatever manifestation, whatever new moon into a full moon. Right now, we're in a Libra full moon right now, right? Or the seeds you planted, were they planted with love, okay? Or were they planted out of fear? If they were planted from fear, you're seeing the illusionary's success begin to unfold. And I got the Queen of Pentacles, which actually came in reverse, and so it's saying that look, when we had all the resources, we didn't use it strategically. We weren't wise. We could have made them last forever. Understand this is like a mother and what she's willing to do in order to feed her child, right? A parent, what they're willing to do in order to extend the survival of their offspring or their youth. They're willing to make things work, and that all of us had all the resources, and essentially those resources have been taken back. And a lot of this is money, honestly, somehow, some way, because the money that was earned, or the things that were earned in your home, like anything you lost, you flooded, your plumbing flooded, and you lost a basement floor and it cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars, whatever. All it is saying is all that was earned was not earned in integrity. And so, I asked what's missing, and what's hidden is what's hidden is the reasons that we're going through material troubles right now are personally our faults, and that's kind of part of what this 5 of Pentacles is saying again. So, when I look at what hope do we have, what's going to give us hope right now, and the answers aren't really what anybody's going to want to hear. We have the Hangman, and what gives us hope is suspension. I've been telling people, until Mars in Cancer hits 9 degrees, which is going to be about April 11th or so, that we're just here to be still. We're here to be still. We're here to be still. We're here to be still, because our sensitive energies that are trying to break through, they're not even trying to break through, they're just trying to grow at their own rate. Our sensitive and psychic abilities and supernatural gifts are being watered right now, and you can't rush a plant, you can't rush blossoming. So our creative dynamic nature will happen, but we have to make sure that we're not creatively burning out in the process. And so that's that. When I ask, like, what do we need in a sense to move forward, and we got the King of Swords, which is actually kind of like close to Chariot energy, and it's like what we need is to be mindful of our children. It's like we need to look at like our children, and part of our children is not necessarily only what the fuck. Oh man, my baby pierced a hole right where the kid's head is at. Pierced a hole in my card. I knew he got these cards. Okay, so we need to take care of the youth, and we need to realize that the first 7 years is when the child needs a mother and a father the most. And even if they break up, if the father and the mother was in the home, at least for the first 7 years, that the child will have some wounds where they need to reparent themselves as they grow and they age. But Mercury in Taurus helping us understand the foundation and realize, like, look, most of us have had our parents, even if our parents weren't on best terms, and past 7 years old, and yeah, we have to reparent, but being stubborn at this point is a vice. Like, sure, it's not your fault, but it has become your responsibility. And so, be responsible. And that's what Mercury in Taurus is saying here. And what it means to be responsible is to realize that you can take the family and the foundation from here forward. All right? And use your mind, use your intelligence to do it. Like, use the foundation that was built for you from your ancestors, from your family, the ones that are even still alive. Like, we don't even got to go into the people who are dead, like the ones that are still alive, but the people who are dead made major sacrifices, so don't take them for granted. What we need to make sure we cut through right here with the Seven of Wands is we need to make sure that we cut through anger. I mean, we need to cut through anger. We need to be noble right now with the way in which we give love and the way in which we exchange energy, and understand that if you're giving from the heart space, if you're giving selflessly, and not necessarily without boundaries, but selflessly, that you can continue to give, and the aura that you're creating around yourself will ultimately give you back so much more. So it's saying, like, stop being so stubbornly selfish, and with that you'll be rewarded handsomely. And this is something that is more visionary type energy, so it's something that you're not going to be able to see. You can't see this type of energy that I'm talking about, but you can feel it. And so that is ultimately like one of the best things that we have going for us in this deck right now, because outside of that, the last thing I got is like, what do we got for the people move forward? And honestly, we got the Devil card, which is Uranus and Saturn. So I mean, the temptation right now to align with certain figureheads that you feel will progress you through status, or resist the temptation of others projecting their energy onto you to connect even with you, like for others to connect with me, or vice versa. Be mindful of the projection fields and be mindful of the auras that we're putting out there, the energy we're putting out there. And Mercury is saying, look, make this tangible in Taurus. Like, be realistic. Like, be honest. Be honest and be sensitive. Honestly, like, be harmonic and understand what that means for you. And it could be different for each individual. But ultimately, the Devil card here is saying that, like, you're getting ready to step through the door of matter, the doors of, material success, but it has to be broken down. It has to go extinct. And this is what Saturn and Saturn in Capricorn and then Pluto in Capricorn are doing. But understand, we have some time before it's going to go back into Capricorn. So we're going to have to take some steps back and some time, some months, to realize, like, what does it really mean for that old form of authority and the connections that we make with authority figures, or at least who we consider, who we project as a hero, who we project as a shaman, who we project as a healer, who we project as whoever you think you need. Because I did roll my dice, and I got a Sagittarius, Neptune. You probably can't see these in the 5th house, And what that says to me is to see through the gurus, see through the false gods, see through being dogmatic and relying on one person to come and save you, like, and understand that, like, it's time to, in the 5th house, give yourself priority as your own leader. You know, be inspired by me, be inspired by whoever you watch, but don't follow me blindly. Ask questions, you know, challenge me, challenge any other teacher, challenge any other healer. Not in a way of suspicion, but in a way where, you know, you listen to your own heart and you listen to your own intuition. So that is the full, complete message that I have for you. Hit the thumbs up and the likes button if you rock and resonated with this. This is Mercury in Taurus, Mercury Retrograde happening. April 7th, the shadow begins, and then April 21st is the actual Mercury retrograde. So the shadow is really, honestly, consider it from April 7th. And then May 14th is when the retrograde ends, but again, the shadow ends May 31st. So consider it April 7th to May 31st, and I promise you'll be happier. Slow down and love strong. Love strong. Love anyways. Whoever hurt you, love anyways. Hit the thumbs up and the like button. Thank you for subscribing if you're brand new. This is Pernell Bobby, your AstroShaman. We are generating an economy of harmony, leveraging human design and genetic astrology. See you all soon.